barbecue fans, welcome to a beautiful day on the FrankenBoo Ranch. All right, so as we're approaching the holidays, everybody wants to know how to cook a turkey and how to cook it correctly. Now let me tell you, there's many ways to cook a turkey that's not right. If you guys are using the stick burners, if you're using a ugly drum smoker or just a drum smoker, or even on a pellet grill, you could easily oversmoke your bird. So what I always like to do is I like to start with a brine first. So what I did is I used this Spice Island turkey brine. Now, a lot of times I'll make my own. I saw this one, and so I posted it, or I bought it, and we're gonna check it out and see how it goes. But it seems like it's pretty good. So it's a garlic herb spice. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna start and I'm gonna make some compound butter. Now I know you guys have heard me talk about compound butter a lot. So today we're actually just gonna sit here and make it. And what I've got is I've got some fresh rosemary that I picked from my herb garden, and I've got some thyme and sage. We're gonna chop all this stuff up. I'm gonna put it in the mixer. We're gonna make a compound butter that we're gonna stuff under the skin of the turkey. Okay, so what did we do? What I did last night is I mixed the brine up according to the recipe, what they have on the back. And I got myself a nice Atlanta United bucket. This one is a food grade bucket. You don't have to have a food grade bucket. You just need to make sure it's clean. Now, I've used Homer buckets a number of times. I always wind up using them around the house after the fact. So I wanted to get something that I can just use from now on just as my turkey brine bucket. What you have to remember with the plastic buckets is you don't want to use a bucket that has scratches inside, because bacteria can hide out in the scratch and it can transfer to your product that you're putting on the grill. Okay, so we brined our turkey, we take it out and we rinse it. We want to get all the brine off of it, everything, rinse it really good inside and out, and let it dry for a little bit. This one's been sitting out for about 4 hours. I like to have it come up to room temperature before I fire it on the smoker. Okay, so in order to keep the thing from over smoking, like you want a nice tan on the bird, you don't want it super dark. So what we do is we get some cheesecloth, and we're gonna wrap this bird in cheesecloth soaked in butter. So I've got some butter here that I've melted. When we're ready, after we've got our compound butter mixed up under the skin, we're gonna soak this cheesecloth in the butter, and we're gonna wrap that turkey in the cheesecloth. We're gonna fire it on the pellet cooker, and we're gonna cook it about 1/3 of the way. Now, if you guys are using a stick burner, if you're using an offset cooker of any type, you probably wanna go 2/3 of the way, because those put out a lot of smoke. The pellet cooker doesn't really put out a ton of smoke. So we're gonna go 1/3 of the way, and then once we reach that 1/3, I'm gonna take the cheesecloth and I'm gonna cut it off, and we're gonna expose it to smoke. So what that's gonna do, it's gonna finish off the bird, it's gonna give it a very nice tan on it, and it's also gonna retain the moisture. So I'm gonna have a really moist, flavorful bird, and it's not gonna be over smoked. It's gonna be a fantastic looking bird. You guys will see in the end. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make our compound butter. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull in so we can get going on that. All right, guys, so let's get at making our compound butter. So like I said, since this is a herb turkey brine, we're gonna use just some more herbs here to make up this butter. Now, I like doing compound butters for just about everything. If I'm doing a steak, I'll do a compound butter with fire roasted garlic and with blue cheese. That really makes for a good compound butter. As that melts over that steak, it's absolutely amazing. All right, so we got our butter in there. Let's get that starting to mix up a little bit. And all right, so I've always talked about having the correct tool for the job. So today I'm using my Hammerstall chef's knife. I really like these knives, not only because I've had this set for over a year now, and I haven't had to sharpen it. These things are amazingly, they have a really good high carbon steel, and they're balanced. It is very difficult to find a good balanced knife. I love these. So we're gonna use this chef knife, and we're gonna start chopping up all of our spices here. Now, like I said, I got these out of my herb garden. You guys can buy them. Like, I bought those in the store because I don't have those growing yet. They're not mature enough. If you guys have the ability to grow rosemary, it's actually very, very easy to grow. And you can use it in just about everything. Now, we've talked knife skills before You notice I just rock it back and forth when I'm doing a fine chop. If you're chopping something, obviously you want to make sure that your knuckles are forward, not your fingers, because you don't want to lose a finger. These knives are very sharp. Like I said, I've had this one up for over a year. I've had the entire set for over a year, which I absolutely love. And as long as you take care of them, your knives will last you forever. What I really like about this is a hollow blade. They call it a hollow blade. You can see the cuts into it. I've got a set of Hinkle Professionals that they have what they call their hollow blade. And it's a very light indentation on it, and everything sticks to it. Absolutely annoying when you're cutting a tomato and it sticks to the blade, but with this one they did it correctly, and they've got the hollow portion of the hollow blade nice and open so nothing sticks to it. All right, so let's go ahead and put our rosemary in there. Let's get that going a little bit more. All right, let's do some sage. Don't need a whole lot of sage, just a little bit. All right, some sage here. You can see the way I'm working this. I wouldn't suggest going as quickly as I'm going unless you guys get yourself a lot of practice. I don't want to hear about anybody losing a finger. Ooh, that smells good. That's a very effervescent sage. If you have a food processor, you can throw it in a food processor too. I enjoy using knives, so that's why I like to do it. All right, get some sage up in there. All right, and we're going to use some thyme. All right. I only want the leaves of the thyme. I don't want the sticks. So I'm just going to pull them out. Hopefully next year my herb garden will be ready to go with a lot of thyme for me as well. We don't have to continue to buy it. If you guys have the ability to grow it indoors or even outdoors, it is so nice just to walk over and harvest your own homegrown herbs. I don't know. I enjoy it more than walking into the store and buying these things. So hopefully next year, that's where we'll be. All right. Let's get those, just the leaves. Let's give these a quick little chop up here. I've talked about cutting boards before as well. Now I'm using this disposable cutting board because I'm cooking so much out here. It just gets kind of old washing my cutting boards over and over again. You guys don't have to go with the disposable cutting boards, but they're really great. If you're cooking somewhere, you can just take them with you. What you want to make sure is that your cutting surface, what you're cutting on, is not denser or more dense than the actual knife you're using. You'll see a lot of people that have these fancy granite cutting boards. When you come down on that, your knife is immediately dulled because it's got this very fine edge that goes across it. And if I was to cut on the stainless steel table I'm on here, it would destroy the knife edge completely. So that's a little pro tip for you. Make sure that your cutting board is not any more dense than your knife material. This is a high carbon steel. I'm not going to cut on anything but this paper cutting board or my wooden cutting board. You guys have seen those a number of times as well. All right, let's get this thing going here. There we go. Now it's breaking down. Now we're mixing up really good. All right. Now while this is blending up here pretty good, I've already set the smoker up. The smoker is set for 275 degrees, and that's what we're going to start our turkey at. We're going to get them going on that once we get this thing wrapped in cheesecloth. Now our butter's starting to look really good. Now you can whip this stuff and it'll poof up and get really big and look really nice if you want to take the time to do that. I'm just going to whip it up here. I'm going to scrape it down with a spatula here. All right, so let's scrape the edges of this just a little bit. Yeah, the more you whip it, the more airier it'll get. I'm not really looking for a airy butter right now because I'm going to use the majority of this in that turkey. If you let it go for a good 30 minutes, it's going to get really light and airy. It's going to be nice and puffy. Be very easy to spread. So let's go ahead and get our turkey over here. Make sure we got all the juice out of him. All right, this is going to be a really pretty bird. Let's dry him off a little bit more. All right, so what I like to do to prep this is I like to get my hand and get it up under here and just get the skin away from the breast. The breast is what will dry out the most on any bird, be it chicken, turkey, whatever. Your dark meat's usually a little bit more moist. So I like to get my fingers under here and pull the skin off of the actual meat, but I'm not taking the skin off. So you can see I just get my fingers under here. Get that going nice and easy so I can get my whole hand and get that butter up in there. The wings, you don't really have to worry about the wings that much. They're going to be good no matter what. This little peppercorn from our brine. All right, let's scrape the edge on this again. All right, now we're starting to lighten up quite a bit here. All right, well that's going. I'm going to go ahead and dry my gloves off. I'm going to pop this cheesecloth open, and we're going to get it soaking. All right, so, oh, look at that, 2 in 1. Win-win. All right, so we only need one. Should be, let's see how big these are. Sometimes they're kind of small. I think this one will work pretty good. All right, so that's a good sized piece of cheesecloth that we can wrap around this guy. We've got the extra one there if we need be. Now you got to be careful, because if you get this thing soaking in the butter and you forget which end's what, you're going to wind up with a big mess. So let's get this off of here. I'm going to hand this off to my assistant. We get that out of here so we got a little bit more room. Let's go ahead and put the ends in. So I like to start with one end and push it down. So that way I know as I pull it out, I can wrap it right around this bird. I'm telling you guys, once you do this for the first time, you'll never go back to doing it any other way again. This gives it such excellent flavor. It's super moist. And if you follow the instructions I'm giving you, you won't have an over smoked bird either. Last thing you want to do is smoke a turkey for, 12, 14 hours and have a piece of turkey jerky to serve your guests. Nobody wants that. All right, looking at our butter, I think we're going pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and knock that thing off. All right, let's get this thing. Yeah, now we've got some usable butter here. Now, there's a lot of different ways you guys can use with what you can do with the cavity of the bird. A lot of people like to stuff citrus in there. It absolutely will give it a citrus hint, which is really nice. For this brine, we're just going to go with it as is. I'm going to leave the cavity open. So you got to get in here with the butter and spread it around. It's going to be a little difficult to get in there on some points, but what you can do is keep one hand halfway clean and work it around from the outside of the skin. So let's get this off here. Give me some more. And I'm going to try to keep from getting my dirty turkey fingers into the butter so I can use it for something else later on down the road. I don't think I need 3 sticks of butter in this small turkey. All right, let's get this piece under here. You can see how easy it is to work the butter around the meat just from rubbing it on the outside. Then we're going to get a little bit more. And I'm going to put it on the thighs on the inside. Okay. And just spread some around the inside of the cavity. Now I'm going to put some on the outside as well. All right. Now, All turkeys come with a little leg tuck in the back, I guess is what you want to call it. I like to hook that back up so that we are holding them all in one place. Let's get some of this down in here. All right, let's get on with our cheesecloth. Okay, like I said, this can get a little messy, so just keep an eye on what you're doing and you'll be good to go. All right, so we've got a double layer here. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to find how to open it here. There we go. Actually, you know what? We're just going to leave it just like that. I've got enough to go around this bird. All right. I'm just squeezing the butter out so it doesn't make an enormous mess. Like I said, it is messy, but what good barbecue isn't, right? Okay, so let's keep wrapping this guy up here. Open this up. We're just going to go around this guy just like this. There we go. Now we're got to make him look like a big old mummy here. Gonna have a tasty, tasty bird. All right. Some creepy skin hanging off there. Let's just tuck that in. All right. One piece looks like it's going to do just fine. Okay. Roll this guy over again. Now, like I said, you guys start digging into this, it is going to get messy, especially if you're not wearing gloves, which I highly recommend you do. All right. Now we're looking good. All right, there's our mummified bird. Let's get the rest of this butter and smear it around on here. So what all that's going to do is going to cook right through the cheesecloth. It's going to melt in, and it's going to flavor up that skin nicely. All right, so like I said, what we're going to do, our cooker's all set and ready to go. So I am going to, okay. Let me go ahead and double check my smoker and we'll be right back to fire it. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and fire this turkey. Before we do, let me tell you how we're going to cook this thing. All right, so you want to cook a bird to 168 degrees, so we're going to go about 1/3 of that, maybe a little bit more. We're going to cook it to about 90 to 100 degrees. And once it gets to that point, that's when we're going to cut the cheesecloth off and just expose it to smoke for the rest of the cook, because all I want is a nice tan on this thing. I don't want it super, super dark. Okay, so that's the first point. Second point is I got my smoker set up for 275 degrees. And today I'm using premium pellets from cookinpellets.com. These guys sent me some pellets and they are probably the best pellets I have ever used, hands down. Today we're using an apple mash and we're using a black cherry blend. Both of these pellets are phenomenal on poultry. They give it a really nice flavor, and I think this is going to come out absolutely amazing. So we're looking at right about 6.5 to 7 hours for the cook on our turkey. It may go faster, it may go slower. We're going to temp this thing regularly, so let's go ahead and fire it up. All right, as you can see, I've taken the middle rack out because this is a tall turkey. So we're just going to go ahead and grab this guy and put him right in the middle. All right, now don't make the mistake of forgetting to clean your grill or forgetting to empty your grease trap, because the last thing you want is whatever the last thing you smoked on that grill. You don't want that flavoring your bird. You want the flavor that you put all the time and effort into that bird having that flavor on it. All right, so we're off and running. We're setting it 265. It's going to recover right up to 275, and we're going to come back and check this thing periodically. We'll see you guys back here in a bit. All right, guys, so here we are. We're at about hour 3 of our cook, and I just temped this thing, and it was about 100 degrees, 110 degrees in the breast. We're at 100 degrees, so we're going to go ahead and cut the cheesecloth off. And the reason we're going to do this is because it's just about 1/3 of the way through the cook, and now we want the rest, or now we want smoke on the bird. Okay, and you can see the color of the cheesecloth, how it's taking all the smoke, and the skin is actually kind of crisping up already. So let's go ahead and get that off the rest of the way. Now we're just going to open this up, and you can see all the juice building up in the lower portions of the bird there. So let's go ahead and pull this off. All right. Now, you can see, take a look at that. You can see all the juice build up in here. This is going to be a really nice, tasty bird. Now, for the last 2+ hours, we're going to get the smoke on the bird and give us the flavor we're looking for from the smoke. So there you have it. We're going to go ahead and close this thing back up and let it go at it. Hey, barbecue fans. Okay, so here we are at the end of our cook. All right, so our turkey's been in for about 6.5 hours. And the last hour, I ramped the cooker up to 325 degrees. Now, the reason I did this is because I want crispy skin on my turkey. I like the crispy skin, and if you ramp it up to 325, 350 degrees, you're gonna get crispy skin. So let's go ahead and pull this thing off. Now you can see I've got just a light tan on this thing. So if I would have left this thing in the cooker for the full 7 hours, it'd be dark. It'd be really, really dark. And I'm not a big fan of over smoked meat. And that's exactly what's gonna happen, especially the following day. If you over smoke it, the following day it's gonna get really bitter and it's not gonna be very good tasting. So I like a light tan on it. I've got a nice tan. I've got some really crispy skin. I can feel it here, and we'll see it when we cut it. All right, so we're gonna cut into this thing, and like I've always said, you always wanna make sure you have the correct tool for the job. So today I'm using the Hammerstall slicing knife. Like I said, these are great knives, perfectly balanced, and it is great for carving a turkey. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna pull in, and I'm gonna show you guys exactly what we're cutting up here. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and slice this thing up. So the first thing I like to do is I like to separate the legs. So let's open this thing up, grab this, and we're gonna take our knife, we're gonna run it right in between the joints and pop this thing out. There we go. All right, look at that. That looks amazing. Let's take a little bite of that. Okay, that's really good. That's phenomenal. Okay. So with the wings, we can just pop the wings right off. Get in here and let's just pull that out. Cut that thing open. There we go. There's a wing. Now let's get into the breast. This is the part that everybody likes, but you want to have it to where it's juicy, and this is why we wrap this thing in a cheesecloth soaked in butter. Okay, so we've got a nice, halfway decent crispy skin. Now you're not going to get perfect crispy skin unless you spatchcock the turkey. If you spatchcock the turkey, it's perfectly okay. I'm not a fan of it because I like to do it traditional. So let's go ahead and take some slices off here. Now look at this. You can see how moist this is. This is super moist, falling apart. You can see the smoke ring in it. And that's actually a really good brine. The flavor is really coming through. So I'm gonna bring my plate in over here. We got hands coming in from everywhere grabbing this stuff, I'm telling you. Once you guys do this, you'll never look back. A nice, moist breast. That is the most difficult thing to do on any bird, is to get the breast moist, because there's no fat in the breast meat. Now look at this. Let me take another slice down. Now that we're getting in deep here. Okay. Look at this. You can see the moisture in the actual breast itself. Now that's from a good brine, and that's from a really good, properly cooked turkey. That is very flavorful. Man, that is really good. Another favorite piece you want to do is the wing. Everybody likes wings. I love a good wing, chicken or turkey. So let's take a look at this thing. Let's pop it open here. Now look at this. This thing's just falling off the bone. Look how juicy that is. That is incredible. There you have it. This is a perfectly cooked turkey. Now tomorrow, what's going to happen is the smoke flavor is really going to set into the meat. Once it sets into the meat, it's going to continue to complement the herb butter that we rubbed the meat down with, the brine that we used. Everything comes together, and right now this is absolutely incredible. The moisture, now you can see the moisture in this bird. See the moisture up underneath this is all from the butter and from the brine and from cooking it correctly. Now if we would have cooked this thing for 12 to 14 hours like a lot of people like to do with, just saying they're barbecuing, it's going to be overcooked. It's going to be super dry. This is absolutely perfect. Great bird. So this can be a really great recipe for you. Great kickoff point for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, whatever you guys want to do, any time of the year, really. So, quick recap. All we did was we used a store-bought brine. We brined it. We made some compound butter. Rubbed the compound butter up underneath the skin. Then we put the thing on the cooker at 275 degrees until it got 1/3 of the way through the cook. Once it got 1/3 of the way through the cook, we cut the cheesecloth off, wrapped in butter that we had on the bird. We cooked it until it was right at about 1 hour done. We ramped the temperature up to 325 degrees, and we finished the cook, and we've got a lightly crispy skin, beautiful moist bird, and we are ready to eat. So there you have it, guys. Really simple, it's not difficult, and this bird came out amazing. So until next time, keep on smoking it.